Hello again, everyone. Todd Michael Putnam from D&D Creative Table Designs, bringing you another adventure table. And this one is a little bit of a departure. This is Goldshire in World of Warcraft, Goldshire. So if you ever played that game, I guess a couple people played it. Not as popular as it was, 10, 15, 20 years ago. But if you're in the Alliance side of things and you're a human, you start off in a little place, Elwyn Forest, and eventually in the low-level starting area, your first major quest hub is going to be the little town of Goldshire. It's not really a town, but it's like a collection of a few small buildings, basically. And there you get to your quest hub. There's an inn, and there's a blacksmith shop, and a few other things. There's a flight point with some flying griffins that you can ride. And that's all available, and a number of quest givers that are in there, both inside and outside the buildings, that allow you to go and kill monsters and collect stuff and treasure and level up, of course, and get past level 5 or 7 or 10 or whatever it is at that stage of the game. So, and I just wanted to see if I could replicate something similar to it using my terrain that I have. Obviously, the minis aren't going to be the same. They're not official World of Warcraft minis for the buildings or the characters, but just a general approximation of what it's like with Goldshire. So some of the stuff that I've got here, the large blue building, which the Alliance buildings are blue in the roof. The Horde buildings are red, but here's the actual inn in Goldshire, and I tried to have. There's always somebody on there showing off their latest flying mount that's flying around there. So I just put a guy riding a dragon on top of the roof, and then of course there's almost always a dark elf chick who's dancing for cash coins. That's almost like a staple of Goldshire. Just how the game is. It's an MMO and players do weird stuff. So there you go. And then there's a smithy here, or an armor shop, where you can go in and learn how to be a smith and get some quests and stuff. And there's a couple of guards that are in front of the shop, so I got them there. And then right next to the shop, with a little red banner behind it, is the flight point for the griffins. There's always a couple of griffins there, and you go up and you talk to the guy and pay him a couple coins, tell him where you want to fly to, and he'll fly you to another flight point. So that's set right there. And this is basically in a condensed version. This is the way the road runs too, because the right road over here goes to Stormwind Castle, the main Alliance capital city. And then this other road here goes off to the very, very beginning of the Alliance human starting grounds. I can't remember what it's called, but it's basically an Elwyn forest, and it's basically for first through third level stuff, basically. So that Y's into a center thing. There is a small house that's off to the side. It's a little farther up than this. The scale is not the same, but there is another Alliance house, like a small person's home or whatever it is, off the side of the road. And then further up the road towards Stormwind, there is just slightly off the beaten path, there's a couple of small little settler houses. They got some very small gardens or whatever it is around, and a couple NPCs. And then out behind the shack, out behind the smithy, there's a guy that's shooting archery and training for that. And there's wolves, as everyone knows, low-level wolves that are passing around. And occasionally there's a brown bear that's going on, so I threw those in there as well. And then if you look at the main road, because the main road T-sections into here, and following that road off to the left, if you're coming into Goldshire from the left here, if you take a left at the fork and head up, that is going to bring you to Red Ridge Mountains. And then if you take the fork over to the right here, that eventually brings you to Westfall. Both of those are higher level areas. And then traveling along the road, there's usually a retinue of Alliance soldiers and somebody leading the charge with their horse there, and they're just doing a patrol to make sure everything's okay in this area. So I included that in there. For the heck of it, I also included, it's an owlbear and a panther, but in WoW terms, that would basically be two shape-shifted druids, because there's always people that are doing battles against one another, player versus player battles where they're dueling one another. And druids can shapeshift into panthers, and they can also shapeshift into boomkins, which look surprisingly a lot like owlbears. So I just kind of put them together and put this little beam of white light burning down as if you had just cast moonbeam on the druid in cat form. So just to try and bring in the dueling that is always going on in Goldshire. At the end of the road, sometimes there's the Darkmoon Fair that shows up every, I don't know, month or two or something like that shows up. And there's a little portal that when you hop into it brings you into the fair proper. But for a few days prior to them showing up, there's a number of tents and stuff that are around there, and basically letting you know that the fair is going to be coming around soon. It's kind of a little of a weird, funky fair, basically, with strange colors and a warped sense of humor and stuff. So, as is typical in WoW. So I tried to bring in the Darkmoon Fair along. This one here, though, there actually is this little cart with a red thing across, with a red canopy on it. Look remarkably similar to that. That's always at the end of the road. That's not part of Darkmoon Fair, so I try to include that. There's a sign that's on the signpost on the end saying where things can go, where places lead to. Over here, I included a spider because there's spiders that are crawling around every now and then. And I'm going to ratchet it back over this way and show you up here. I have somebody who's on one of the flying griffin mounts zooming in because Goldshire is a relatively busy place. So I've got somebody flying in on the griffins, one of these guys right here, and he'll land at the flight point and jump off and head over and start doing his questing, or get his armor repaired at the smithy shop, or go get quests or something, or change his home location in the inn, so that's where he portals back to. That puts there. And then if you travel out behind the inn, and again, the scale is different. If you travel out behind the inn for a little ways, you will find that there are some murlocs that are here. Obviously, I don't have actual murlocs, but I found little frog-like guys. They're not white, but there's little frog-like guys, so I put them in there. Murlocs make this kind of like gurgly type sound, and they're generally they're considered relatively low-level creatures. But the reality of it is that even when you go up to the higher zones, they just use murlocs all over the place. But these are, of course, very low-level ones that are easy to kill. And then if you're following along the left side a little bit as you leave, as you're headed out back, if you're trying to go to, and I can't think of the name of the mine, but it's a mine infested with kobolds. It escapes me at the moment. There's a small, tiny little outhouse-like shack nestled up against some rocks, and there's a number of bandits that are in there that you can choose to fight. If you get too close to them, you'll draw their ire, and it can be kind of dangerous because there's a bunch of them, so you got to pick them off one by one if you can. So there's actually an outhouse that comes with one of WizKid's, I believe it's kitchen accessories. So I just put that in there, and just like the shack that's there in the Goldshire. So that's it. That's basically the Goldshire. My interpretation of it using D&D terrain. How did I do it? Well, the road people, the business that made the roads, they're out of business, unfortunately. So I can't give you a link to them or let you know who they are because they're gone. Most of the towns are the town buildings are 3D printed, except for this one right here. This is from Zitterdes, Zitterdes.com, Ziterdes.com. It's a German company. It's a hard foam product. This right here, the fields, that I got off of eBay. I just did a search for 28 millimeter fields, and somebody basically handcrafted it and sells it online. The trees are all Monster Fight Club, and the bushes are all Monster Fight Club of a variety of colors. Some of them I had repainted. There's a darker reddish orange one and this yellow one. Those are repainted. Those aren't natural colors, but the orange and the green, you can get the Monster Fight Club trees in those colors. But just to add a little extra variety, I had some of mine repainted to give it more of a natural feel to it. And then the little pond itself is also from Monster Fight Club. So, and that's pretty much it. The rest of them are mostly WizKids minis. The Darkmoon Fair, these are just things, these are all 3D prints that I found online, just doing a search for 28 millimeter Carnival, 28 millimeter Fair, 28 millimeter Bard, and I just did lots of searches for that, and eventually got a number of different Carnival-esque type things, and just threw that together for the Darkmoon Fair. This right here, the portal itself, is from WizKids, and I believe that's from their Spell Effects accessory pack. So if you look for that. And then last but not least, the fences are from some kind of a Napoleonic War Games thing. But just do a search for 28 millimeter fences, and you'll get a variety of them that come up. And lastly, the battle mat itself, it's actually 2 mats side by side, is from WizKids, and it's their plains mat. They have a forest mat, a plains mat, an ocean mat, and I think that's it. They may have other ones. They've got other smaller mats, a magma mat and a caverns mat, but these are much larger ones. I believe they're 5 by 3. And oh, I'm sorry. These rocks are also for Monster Fight Club. I got way ahead of myself saying the last thing. Those rocks right there are for Monster Fight Club. And this flight stand is from Tinkered Tactics Combat Tiers base set. That is such a mouthful. They really need to rename that company. The other people that make ones that are really good are Axe and Shield. I have some of those, and those work great. But these are basically for elevation or flying or underwater too. If you want to show depth of water, it works great for that. So that's it. That is the small town, if you will, of Goldshire. It's one of the first major quest hubs in the Alliance human chain of questing for World of Warcraft. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please leave or comments, please leave them below. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content, and let me know what you think. Appreciate your time, and I will see you guys next adventure. Take care. Bye.